Good evening and welcome. We're glad you all joined us here for our second council meeting of January. We always like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, so we'll ask Gary Harris to come forward and lead us in the pledge.
Present arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. And at this time, we have a moment of silence. You may use this moment for personal reflection, silent prayer, or however you choose to prepare for the meeting. Thank you all very much. Council members, you all have minutes from our January 9th meeting. Have you all had a chance to review those? Are there any changes? Do we have a motion to approve as submitted?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? At this time, we will open the floor for citizen comments for matters before the public, matters of public record. You come down to the podium here, use the microphone, please state your name for the record, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Come on down.
Mayor Horton, I'm Richie Davis, lifelong resident of the city of Radford. Guess I first should say congratulations to the new members that are on city council. I come to you today with more of a school board issue, but I think it carries public interest and it's come of late notice to me, and so I wanted to bring it to city council's attention, kind of know where a certain group of people are, and I think I speak for a decent amount of people. On January 12th, that was the first time that I was hearing that there was a serious consideration of tearing into Bobcat Stadium, tearing out the concrete and putting in bleachers. That evidently has been in discussion with the school board when they first noticed, I guess, concrete issues in September of last year. They blocked off certain sections for all of us that went to the football games. And then there was an action item done in November related to getting Thompson and Litton to do a proposal. And the proposal, I guess, have gotten to the point where at the next school board meeting coming up on the 14th of February, that there's there are proposals. The RFPs are due, I think, this Thursday, the 26th. And it seems, again, I can only glean from the conversations in the minutes, that what I find to be an iconic part of this city, a true landmark, and that being Bobcat Stadium, is potentially not going to have concrete foundation, could potentially have the concrete ripped out and have bleachers put down. Now that may, I can digest it even though I don't like it, but I think that things are being kept somewhat in the dark. It's just come to the light of a lot of us parents that have kids that are getting ready to play their senior season at Bobcat Stadium. And so I bring it simply to your all's attention. I don't know if city council, you really probably should butt out of school board issues sometimes. But when it comes to this kind of decision where back in '67 it was built with the city approval, certainly with city help, certainly your all's financial help to the school board has got to be a decent chunk of their budget, probably 40 to 50%, depending on any calendar year. And I say to you because I speak on behalf of really a lot of parents and a lot of people that grew up in the city that look at Bobcat Stadium as different than everybody else, different than bleachers. You see the concrete, and we do have problems, okay? I'm not here to say that Mother Nature is going to wear, erosion is going to cause problems to concrete. It's going to happen. And financially, if it's too expensive, that's the pill you have to swallow if that's what it's done. But I just think we're moving too fast, and I'm concerned that they're moving too fast. I guess, is that my 3 minutes?
That's 3 minutes. Thank you, Richie.
All right. So anyway, I bring that to your all's attention. There are certainly going to be further concerned citizens that are going to be stepping up to do this, and I bring it to your all's attention because if you didn't know about it, it's going on right now.
Are there any other citizens who have a matter for the public that they would like to share this evening? Council members, if you all have a response, we can each take 1 minute.
All right, but certainly, I mean, we're all members of the community, so we all care. What I'm curious about, you had mentioned that you're going to bring your concerns, Richie. Do they know? Have you written a letter to them, or have you reached out? Have you gotten any response?
So probably the next step will be to try to make it a public discussion, a public agenda for something of that nature. Do they know? Certainly I've had conversations with other parents that have had meetings with the superintendent. There have been emails and Facebook to where they realize that there are a lot of people that hadn't heard anything about potential of the very foundation of the stadium as
Okay.
do they know? Yes. This is not the first time. I bring it to your all's attention because this is now, there's a group of us starting to want to voice our concern about going too fast and trying to, one, not only tear down, the main foundation of the stadium and put in bleachers instead of concrete foundation, but two, that it could disrupt the sporting events that the student.
So is your main concern the replacement of the cement with the typical stadium seating? Is that what you're saying? You don't prefer that?
So, Jesse, I would say it this way. I believe that they want to do something that's not going to disrupt the football season. In that vein, they believe that out the concrete and putting in bleachers, following a proposal by Thompson and Litton, and they're leveraging that position by saying have a sporting season in the fall, for example, not playing football at Buckhead Stadium.
So let's,
Saying that I find pause and more of a reflection on whether we can look exactly what type of repairs. These proposals are not coming in until to Thursday, and certainly the new school board is going to have to review those. That is just my concern. My concern is that we're going too fast and that there needs to be more reflection on how to do this without potentially concrete and definitely not disrupting any part of any student athlete playing in that stadium.
so let's see if anybody else has a response, and really the response should just be from us back to the comments, and then if we need to revisit, we can come back around at the end of the meeting. So does anybody else have anything else they want to state?
I'll just thank Richie for coming in. I've heard little bits and pieces about this, but that's more information than I'd had, and certainly, that's a special place for a lot of people, and I understand your concern, everyone's concern, so I just appreciate you coming and bringing it to our attention.
And I would have all the parents that are concerned, I would organize them and have them go to the meeting, and you'll have an opportunity to speak, and I would highly suggest that.
Just on that, the next meeting is the 14th, I believe. This council meets on the 13th, and maybe the council may want to invite more information to be presented to it on the 13th prior to the school board addressing on the 14th.
Let me see if I have any other responses. Anybody else have anything else they want to say? Richie, thank you for bringing it to our attention. David, do you have any commentary you want to add to this?
The only thing I would add is, as I recall, the stadium was in
It's on the project list.
It
Yeah.
is.
the program. I don't remember it. Richie said I can't.
So I'll just add two things to it. The meeting where this was discussed is available online, so please, for those interested, review the meeting. There's a section where Thompson and Litton is making a presentation. You can get more information that way. I will reach out to the chair of the school board as well. Okay? Thank you, Richie. Anything else? Any other response?
Richie, likewise, appreciate you coming forward and enlightening us on, what's transpiring. And so, hopefully something will happen there to where everybody can get together on it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. At this time, we will close the citizen comment portion of the meeting, and we will open the public hearing for Radford Transit's fiscal year 2023-2024 operating budget. We make an annual application to the Federal Transit Administration for funding to support Radford Transit. The process requires that the public have an opportunity to provide comments on the application and proposed use of the $2.55 million planned operating budget for the operating funding, $100,000 for capital investment, $70,000 for equipment, and all of that is in the fiscal year 2024 budget. Ms. Skelton was unable to join us this evening. She did share budget information with council. Council, do you all have any questions regarding the Radford Transit budget? Okay. David, do you have anything you want to add in? And if you'll turn your mic on so that those watching online can hear us.
Yes, as you mentioned, Mayor, you did cover the summary of the items. Basically, the city runs a transit system for $2.5 million with an investment of $347,000. Do not appear to be anything out of the ordinary for this upcoming year. We have to do the public hearing to move forward with the application that has to beat the February 1st deadline at DRPT.
And just, as we're moving through this, we continue to have an ongoing discussion with Radford Transit. This is not the first time we've discussed it, even here recently, as we had the transition from one provider to another, one operator to another. So we will open the floor for the public hearing. Anyone who has a comment or question, please come down regarding Radford Transit. Come down to the podium, use the microphone. Please state your name for the record, and we will open the public hearing now. Public hearing has been duly notified. The public has been notified. The public hearing has been advertised. Jenny, did we receive any comments by email or any other means? Okay. Seeing no one coming forward, we will close the public hearing and we will move forward to old business. Now, on our agenda, we do have appointments to boards and commissions. I think it makes good sense for us to advertise these appointments more broadly and to these positions more broadly, and then for us to consider them at another time. We're looking at adding folks to our Building Code Board of Appeals and to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission vacancy occurred when Seth Gillespie moved into the City Council representative role, and it provided an opening.
So did the Building Code, actually.
Okay.
Seth was on our Building Code Board of Appeals, and as a council member, he cannot serve on that. Let me just say that the resume in your file was provided by Chris Childress, our building official. He recommends this individual. That person, there's specific requirements by state code in the Virginia Maintenance Code that require us to have
And I think that's a good
people
one
on there.
for us to have, but I'd still, if it pleases council, I'd still like us to go on and put these out there.
And that's fine, that's your decision. I think Chris was hoping to get his people in some training in the coming month. I almost want to say before. I think it was in February, but I mean, it's
Is it
obviously
before
at
our
your
meeting,
discretion.
first February meeting?
Wanted to think so, but I'm.
Well, council members, what do you all want to do?
Well, I was going to bring up that question as well. So what is the overall policy as far as advertising? And if we say we do have a good candidate that we would like and we know of that, but I still think in good faith we should probably advertise that to make sure it's open to the public in the name of transparency, even though I understand that that's kind of a time crunch thing.
It's
but-
always council's discretion to a point, that anything we receive is just to inform us in the process. And certainly when there's a vacancy, we notify people, but it's not necessarily advertised. So I think that's the big thing. Jenny, you have anything else you
I
want
don't
to
think we
add?
have, not to my knowledge, there's not an official like city policy regarding advertising of those positions. I try to advertise pretty much and the bigger advertisement, like I actually publish in the paper in May when we have, 20 vacancies for our July meeting. And so these are just the ones that have are sporadic vacancies due to resignations or, the changing
Well,
of
and
the
some of
council
this,
and-
again, is where we're working through the transition from May elections to November elections. So we may look at doing a June or July advertisement and then a January advertisement of all the positions available, just so that people know as we move forward from there. But for this one, definitely for Planning Commission, we want to put that out there. Do we want to put out the Building Code Board of Appeals, or do we want to consider the recommendation that's been made?
Well, I'm looking over at his resume, and I know that there are very specific things that need to be met for this position, and so we're quite fortunate to have this caliber of interest that he'd be able to slide in very easily. Just a couple things: certified building official, property maintenance official, property maintenance inspector. So, I mean, it just goes on. Building plans examiner, accessibility plans examiner, and that's just an inch of 8 inches. So, in this particular instance, because it is so specific, I have no problem. I'm actually quite grateful that we have someone stepping up, and especially if there's a training. We don't want them to be a year out of training, and that's just really important in this position with the city. I have no problem in recommending him for this role.
Okay, what are the other thoughts of the other council members?
I would agree. He seems like he's very knowledgeable, and I do have it.
Yeah,
I pushed my button.
gotcha.
Sorry.
I can hear you, you're good.
Thanks. I think he has an exemplary resume, and I agree. I think we're lucky to have somebody at this caliber want to participate in that role for sure.
Okay. So council, if it's your pleasure, do we have a motion to go on and fill the vacancy on the Building Code Board of Appeals with the nominee William Henson Jr.?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Planning Commission, do we want to go on and hold that for advertisement and reconsider it at our next meeting?
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay. Jenny, if you'll put that out there that we're seeking anyone interested in the Planning Commission, we'll go from there. Okay, thank you all very much. For our new business, we do need to look at the Radford Transit operating budget, and we just had our public hearing regarding that. Obviously, no one came forward and no electronic comments were submitted regarding the budget. Council members, do you have any questions for Mr. Ridpath regarding the operating budget for Radford Transit? Hearing none, do we have a motion to endorse the budget as proposed? So moved. We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Yes.
I didn't have the amended agenda in front of me. Sorry, I was going from what was in the packet. I apologize. Can you give me a copy of the amended agenda, Jenny?
Do you need this?
I appreciate it.
Oh,
Nope,
here.
was not. No, I got it. I'm good. Thank you. Okay, so this is part of our old business that we skipped over, and I apologize for that. We've been working through several things. K&J Properties has requested the vacation of 2 excess public right-of-ways to expand their property at 1925 2nd Street to support development of 6 townhomes. The right-of-ways include 12 feet of 2nd Street between Custis and Ingalls, as well as 15 feet of Custis Street between West Main and 2nd Street. All application fees have been paid. Council, we had a public hearing on December 8th, and we also appointed a 3-member board of viewers. They took a look at it. They found no issues regarding the right-of-way vacation. Staff has also reviewed that. So we have to do 2 things tonight. First, we need to receive the board of viewers report that is in your packet. Council members, do we have a motion to do so?
So moved.
We have a motion to receive the board of viewers report. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And then we do need to make a request that we draft an ordinance for consideration addressing the vacation. Do we have a motion to do so? We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second to draft an ordinance. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Sorry to get out of order on that. Now let me get my things back in order. We have two appropriation ordinances to consider this evening, and they're both very good items for us to think about. One is for the Commonwealth Attorney's Office for Victim Witness Services. It's a grant from the Virginia Department of Justice in the amount of $129,410. The funds will be used to support the comprehensive services of the Victim Witness Coordinator and a full-time person employed as well. So it's salary, benefits, travel, and office supplies. That assists the individuals who've been victims of crimes, felony, or misdemeanor. The program served the citizens of Radford and Floyd for 28 years and more than 550 victims. There is no local match. So, council members, do you all have any questions? Do we have a motion to adopt the appropriation ordinance 1763.21 in the amount of $129,410?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Having heard four affirmative votes, we can dispense with a second reading if so desired. Is there a motion to do so? There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to dispense with second reading. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Our next action is actually appropriation ordinance 1763.22, which is a donation for our police department from Colmorgan Corporation in the amount of $2,500. That's going to help us purchase an additional flock camera that can be used for license plate reading to identify stolen vehicles and other services for the police. Since they were not programmed in as part of the budget, we have to take a look at this appropriation ordinance. Chief, do you have any comments regarding this camera? We're good. Council members, do you all have any questions? Do we have a motion to approve ordinance 1763.22? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Having heard four affirmative votes, we can dispense with a second reading. Is there a motion to do so? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Well, we had a long training this evening. We've had a lot of stuff going on, but now we are at the end of our meeting and we can talk a little bit. David, what do you have for us?
Just a couple of items for you. The University Drive Bridge project is moving along well. Cold weather has held it up a little bit, but they're removing, if you've been down through there, that final middle joint is being replaced, so you won't have that big hump there, and the work underneath is going on. Still anticipate that project will be completed in April.
In which bridge?
University Drive Bridge, one goes over to the Dedman
okay.
Center. So it's
Gotcha.
one of the older bridges, and the city is responsible for its maintenance and repair. We have a joint relationship with the university. They're doing some things to the cosmetics, and we're taking care of the structural piece of
Good.
that. Also, we had our meeting with ARC, Appalachian Regional Commission, this past week. That project for East Main Street is moving along well. As most things that have federal money tied to it don't go as fast as you would like. Bidding looks like it will be in the spring with construction sometime in the summer. We'd hope to start a little sooner than that, but timing-wise, it's probably not going to work out anyway. Plus, we're watching the cost of bids and prices for concrete and things like that. And this will help us a little bit because with the State of Good Repair road program project that we're getting asphalt money for, it would be better that we go ahead and get our downtown project underway before the paving comes all the way through. So we'll have an update for you on that. I'm anticipating probably sometime in March we'll do another work session on it just to catch up on all the details. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Kelly, what do you have this evening?
I don't really have anything. I'm excited about our flock camera. It's something good, and I hear we're on the cusp of that as far as other areas go. We have them before a few other larger areas, so I'm excited that we're a front runner on that and help our police force out. I definitely am going to do a little bit more research on the high school bleachers. I'm a high school graduate, and I spent a lot of time in that stadium cheering and watching football games, and want to make sure that we're making an informed decision there. So I'm going to look into that. Happy to have full council back, everybody back healthy and happy, and I think that's all. I hope everybody has a great couple of weeks till I see you guys again.
Thank you. Jesse, what do you have for us?
First of all, my moment of silence was dedicated to, thank you, the 11 people killed, 9 injured on January 21st at the Lunar New Year celebration in California. I wanted to say, I know we put out at one of the meetings, actually, I've put out at several meetings, that folks in the community should get a hold of us as they're going about town and they see things that need to be corrected or completed, fixed. I was at one of our citizens' homes today. He was fussing a little bit about some tree lines, or some trees that are in the lines. So I have to say, while we were out there looking at it, our electric department come out at the same time. So they were very responsive. They're out there and they're hoping to get it done by the end of April. So keep those tidbits coming. Let us know anything around the community that you see that needs our attention. Please continue to let us know about those. And on that, I also had someone reach out. I think they may have reached out to you as well. They're concerned about East Main past McAdoo's. They're saying that, you know, the city lights they don't carry that far. It gets dark, and they're worried about the lines on the roads that are not just the center lines, but also the edges of the road. So I know I had mentioned that we have a lot of paving coming up. Right, and I don't know how far out we are, but certainly, you know, she mentioned a safety concern. So I actually went out there in the evening because I have the same nighttime vision issues that she has, and it was, if I didn't know the road, I could see where she's coming from. It is hard, there's not really any demarcation. So if we're going to be delayed for an extended period of time on actually, yeah, maybe we can. Oh, May? We're pretty sure? Okay. I think she'll be fine waiting until May.
I'll check, see if it's a really bad spot. There was some pavement repair
Yeah.
out there, and that maybe the section you're talking
Yep.
about. The Plum Creek area,
Mm-hmm.
it's all been redone, but
Yep.
It's really McAdoo's too, about the bridge outside of Plum Creek that's the issue.
Yeah. That'd be ideal if it's going to be extended, but I appreciate that. I know that we've been talking about and working on it, and I told her as much, but I felt like she really wanted a little bit more detail on what that meant. Yeah, on what that meant. So, yeah, so anyway, just to the community, please keep that information coming. It does matter, it is important, and we are following up on those items, and that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Seth, what do you have?
Sure, yeah, I have a couple things. First, I'd like to thank Richie Davis again for coming and kind of to Jesse's point, for us to know your concerns, it's always important to let us know, so we are informed, so thank you for that. Also, about the flock cameras, I had two citizens who asked me what they were. They were concerned that they were to monitor birds, so I have updated them that is not their purpose, so it's money well spent. Also, I had my first rec commission meeting last week. I was really excited about that. For me, a huge economic tourism aspect is tournaments and getting people in the city. So I was happy to report they have 21 baseball tournaments, 2 basketball tournaments, and 2 volleyball tournaments already on the books. So, you know, I'm excited to work with Kim Repass and everyone at the rec department and really push that out. It's something that I think it's important, and I think to be competitive, if you look at other localities such as Christiansburg and other venues like that, you know, we really have to make sure that we are investing in our infrastructure for these facilities because it's a competitive out there, and I think there's a lot of marketability for us because Rafford's a special place, it's a special sports community, and something I think we can really tie into.
Pickleball, that'll be fun.
Pickleball was mentioned, and it's on the way, and I think David Ripath was there. We want to be the hub of pickleball. You know, you're not going to Blacksburg for pickleball. We want you to come to Rafford. So, and then the last thing that I would like to bring up for council to consider for our next meeting, if we can maybe get on the agenda for discussion for the Big Al Hall recognition. I don't know. I know it was previously there, something that we could talk about, maybe even whether we did it in the same capacity or not. I just know that it was a good way to kind of honor some of our citizens who go above and beyond, and I think it was an initiative by Mayor Brown, and just something for us to look at and maybe modify or something, but I know it's important to a lot of people, just something for us to maybe look at and consider.
Sure.
And that's
we'll
all
put
I
it on
have.
the agenda for next time.
Okay, thank you.
Bobby, what do you have?
Well, likewise, I just appreciate everybody coming up here anytime anybody's got any concerns whatsoever. Please come by and just talk to us. likewise, I appreciate everything the police department's doing. And I'm also excited about the flock cameras. And anyway, just glad to be here, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Lots of great things happening in the city of Radford. This week, I wanted to highlight that in this room, Friday evening at 5:30, Glencoe Mansion is sponsoring a panel discussion with several members of our community regarding slavery in Appalachia, and particularly in Radford. Please help spread the word about that. This is an important piece, and then I believe a reception will take place following that panel discussion. The reception, I think, is 6:30, 6:45. But it'll be right here in our council chambers. There are a number of members of the Heritage Foundation and of the community who will be participating, and some folks from around the region. I know Sarah Carter is helping to spearhead that, and there are many others who are part of it as well, and telling a fuller part of the story of Southwest Virginia, of the New River Valley, and of Radford. So that's an important piece that'll be on this Friday. Lots of good things coming up. Hopefully you're checking out those Highlanders as they are moving right along. We did have Bobcat Day with the Highlanders a week ago, and man, it was a great turnout. And that was a really wonderful synergy between our schools and the Radford University community to have so many people recognized. Many of our teachers were recognized at halftime on court, and that was a wonderful celebration of those individuals as well. So hopefully we can keep that momentum going. I will remind council once again to put on your calendars February 25th to meet me at the river. That is the Polar Plunge, and we more than welcome everyone to participate. That is important for the Special Olympics. That's a huge piece. I know our police department is heavily involved with the Special Olympics and the Polar Plunge. This is a big deal for our community because it is Southwest Virginia's Polar Plunge. So really Roanoke to, I think, Wytheville or beyond participates, and hundreds of people will be taking the plunge for the Special Olympics on February 25th. So please help spread the word about that if we can. We just recently had Martin Luther King Day a week ago Monday, and certainly an opportunity for the community to give back. There were a number of service activities and a number of programs. One I would like to point out in particular was the recognition of Ms. Vondelier Hubbard for her service by the local chapter of the NAACP, and it is a cumulative service, and she was awarded the Martin Luther King Service Award, and that's well-deserved. She serves in so many capacities for our community. I know she's worked closely with our police department on the Chiefs Advisory Panel and a whole host of other activities, so congratulations to Vondelier, and thank you for all that you do. It's very well-deserved. One piece I wanted to bring up just real quickly, and this is something I've been thinking about, so something I'd like us to consider a little further down the line, maybe February, March. I was sitting in my church services a week ago, and we were celebrating the 10th anniversary of a program, an outreach program they have called Community Table, where anyone can come get a meal on Saturday afternoon. And it's part of the Food Insecurity Feeding Program. Coming up this next week, they're going to be going to Rustic Village to actually hand out some meals at that location. And I was just really thrilled that this was taking place, but I know there are so many faith and other service-based organizations that are serving our community. What I would like to see us do, similar to what we had with the Apostolic Church when they were asking us for the rezoning piece, is to ask all of those groups to join us on a designated day. Both those that are faith-based, those that are secular, those that are involved in the community. So things like the Clothing Bank, the Women's Resource Center, the Radford Fairlawn Daily Bread, all of the service organizations connected with the churches, clubs and organizations that may be doing things we have no idea about. And two big things can happen with that. First and foremost, we can be made more aware, and we can celebrate these people. And how great would it be to have a room full of folks who are just dedicated to making a difference for the citizens of Radford and the New River Valley, but also to then maybe help compile some information that we could formally share as a community to say, you know, food insecurity, here are the agencies that can help. Here are the things that can help. Homelessness, here are the things that can help. Clothing, here are the things that can help, and all the different groups that are providing that. Because right now it's a little bit of catch as catch can. If you know someone or people put something out there and folks start listing things, and we miss a lot. And this would provide us a perhaps one-stop shop that we could put together with that. But I'd like to propose that we do that maybe end of February, beginning of March, so we can start getting the word out to folks and take a look at that and put your thinking caps on, because I think it's really important for us to get all the groups together that are providing those services. And I know we all have our connections with everybody and making that happen. But good things are happening in Radford. We have more good news coming soon. Next Monday, you may notice on your agendas that January 30th, we have a work session beginning at 5:30. The new university president, Dr. Brett Danilovitz, has agreed to participate with us as council members, with some members of the university staff, to just have a discussion about where we are, what the vision is, and where we're going to try to go together. And so at 5:30 on the 30th, we'll be right back here in this space, and we'll all be gathered around the tables working together to have some discussion about, what's happening with different projects. We'll get an update on the hotel. We'll talk a little bit about the Riverway and what's happening along the new river and some of the other things that are going on. We'll talk about some things that are coming in the future and some long-term visioning and some strategic planning that we can do jointly to benefit all entities and see what can happen. So I do hope folks can come out and participate in that. I think this is an important discussion and part of an ongoing series of community conversations that we have about our community, about the neighborhoods, and about what's happening in Radford. So that's an exciting time coming up for us. And with that, I don't have anything else, so we will accept a motion to adjourn.
Wait, let me hand something out really quickly. You mentioned the Heritage Foundation, and we have our meeting this week, and they're going to get on me if I don't.
Okay.
So we are always working on our membership, and so I promised that I would hand one of these out to all the new members, and we would love for you to join. You'll see that we're mentioned quite often with the events that we're doing in the community, so it's really important, and we'd love to see your name on the members list.
Okay. Thank you very much. And come out Friday night. You can participate no matter what. Do we have a motion to adjourn? So moved. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Motion and a second. All in favor, say good night. Good night.